Okay, continuing on with operations, the next operation is going to be division. So remember, division of two numbers, 2 over 7 divided by 3 over 7, tells us to take the denominator, flip it, and then multiply to the top. So once we get it from the division to this step right here, it's back to a multiplication problem. So you multiply straight across. So really, division is just an extra step compared to the multiplication problem, but it's exactly the same. So since it's exactly the same, right, first let's go ahead and write it as its factored form. So let's factor the top part. Let's see, 5 and 2 is probably where I want to start. And then 6 and 6. So 6 times 6 plus. So 6 times 6 is 36. 5 times 6 is 30 plus 12 is 42. The bottom part is going to be 3 and 2 probably. And then 10 and 6. So 20, 18. So 10 and 6. 1 negative, 1 positive. So 18 minus 20 is minus 2b. Again, do it over here. Let's factor out a 2. So I can actually factor out another 2, which is going to be 4 times 10b plus 12. And then we could factor out another 2 actually. So let's change this to an 8. Change this to a 5, 6. And then the bottom part of that one is going to be 3b, b, 5, minus 5, 2, 6, 10, 3. So minus 10, minus 1. So this is going to be minus 10b minus 3b gives you minus 13b. So if you can't do the factoring by guess and check, right, you can do it by the grouping method instead. It might take a little bit longer, but you'll still get the same answer. So once you get into this form, remember it's a little bit different than multiplication. You actually have to do the flipping first. So let's write the flip of the denominator, which is the bottom part of the division. So this one is that one just inverted. Then multiply it to the one on the top, which is the first one. And now we can start canceling, right? So this one and this one cancel, this one and this one cancel, this one and this one cancel. So you're left with b minus 1 over 8. So when you're doing this, you still have to find all the restrictions, okay? So you cannot have 5b plus 6 equaling 0, 2b plus 6 equals 0, and 3b minus 10 equals 0. So the first one is going to be b is negative 6 over 5. Second one is b negative 6 over 2, and then 10 over 3. So our restrictions here, we need to write those as b cannot be negative 6 over 5, 10 over 3, negative 6 over 2, and if you want, that simplifies to minus 3. But there's actually another part to this. We had a division over here, right, which we flipped. So we need to double check to make sure that all of these cancel. But notice that this division right here has a division by 0 here and here. But in the end result, this b minus 1 is actually on the top now. So you need to write the division by 0 for that one, which is just 1. B cannot be 1. Okay. Another way to do this, if you want, is to just find the domain of the original problem, which means find all the division by zeros. And that happens when this is 0, when the numerator on the bottom is 0, because then the entire division is 0, and when the denominator of the bottom is also 0. So you can just find all of those as well, and that'll work. So notice the two different ways. Division written as a division symbol versus division as a fraction. So be very careful how you write this. You don't want to get confused by writing things like that, where it's not obvious which one is actually dividing. So for example, that is A divided by B over C. So be careful how you write it to make sure you understand what you wrote. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it. Sorry, flip the bottom. And then multiply it to the top. So right from here, right, when we flip the equation, we said that this is no longer on the bottom. Right? So we're going to have to find those restrictions. And we're going to do that by factoring. So 5m, 6 and 3, minus 6, minus 3, 5m, minus 3. And then factors in this one is going to be 3m, 6, 3, 9, 2. So 9 plus 2. And then factor out a GCF, which is going to be 3 times 9m plus 6. So I can factor out another 3. Okay. So we couldn't have this in the denominator. So here, m cannot be 6 and also cannot be 3 over 5, which is going to be the solutions to those two factors. These cancel. These cancel. And so what you're left with is m minus 6 times m minus 9 divided by 9. And our restrictions here, still m cannot be 6 or 3 over 5. M cannot be 6, 3 over 5. And the ones that we canceled now are 5m minus 3 equals 0 and 3m plus 2 equals 0. So 5m minus 3 equals 0 when m is equal to 3 over 5 and m is equal to negative 2 over 3. So go ahead and add those into the restrictions on the bottom. Okay. So we actually have this one where we did it earlier, so we don't need to write it twice. The hardest part about rational functions in general is finding all of these restrictions. So if you want to do it right from the beginning and find the domain, that is a possible way of doing it. So find the domain by setting the 27 m plus 18 equal to 0, the 5m minus 3 equals 0, and then the 5m squared minus 33m plus 18 equals 0. Just find all of those different answers, and every single step, just write it on the side, and that'll be your restrictions for the entire problem.